What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Fantasy Football Almanac, back at it with another best ball draft. Today we're in a draft room doing another puppy league. These puppy leagues, $5 per draft. So I'm getting in a ton of these, trying to get in as many as I can. Right now, just launched into a draft, a $5 puppy draft. Now we got Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey coming off the board here. We are at pick 9. Which is pretty interesting. Like I was saying in the last video, I don't really like pick 9, but it is good to get experience at pick 9 if I really don't like it. And this draft might be a little bit better too, because last draft, we were drafting against some very, very smart people. Very, very highly experienced drafters. This draft, it doesn't seem like there's a single highly experienced person in this entire draft, so it is a little bit better. We won't have to deal with that BS anymore. No getting sniped on every pick. Hopefully. We're drafting with some interesting people. We got Dramsdale, Tad Deeks 912, Johnny Depth, Ohalaka. I'm not even going to attempt that. Chris Allen, that's easy. Clutch Boy, J Metz 34, and J Barone 28. We got two J's in a row. And we also got Stefon Diggs on the board, who we will be scooping up here. Stefon Diggs, a guy I am taking every time at 9, because it is pretty easy to get a good running back like Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift in the next round, or even an Aaron Jones or Saquon Barkley. I mean, the wide receivers are also still available, but I think the drop-off is a tiny bit higher. And even if we do end up with a guy like CeeDee Lamb here, at 16, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. I would love CeeDee Lamb. I would love Davante Adams. I would take any of these guys. I would literally take any of these guys. It's been a very, very standard draft so far. We got Sal Powell taking Najee, and then D Nice, the classic, taking Joe Mixon. The parlay is now up back to back. I kind of do wish I had the 12. I feel like I've gotten drafted at like the 12 the least, which I guess I can't be too mad about. I prefer the 101 to the 112, but still, it would be kind of cool. The 109 does kind of stink because here we can get sniped on a teardrop off. There are 3 players I like more than the rest. CeeDee Lamb being one of them. Davante Adams and DeAndre Swift being the other 2. So it would kind of stink. We could get sniped here if DeAndre Swift or Davante Adams go off the board. If this guy decides to reach, maybe D-Nice likes a little Mike Evans action. Could be a little different. It is possible. We shall see. D-Nice has 7 seconds left on the board. He goes Leonard Fournette. We are getting one of these 2 bad boys over here. Would have liked Davante Adams at 16. Would have been a crazy snipe. We're going to go DeAndre Smith here. DeAndre Swift here. So it's been a long day. Since it's been a long day, and I'm still doing these puppy drafts, I'd really appreciate it if you went down to the comments, left me a comment, telling me how I did, leaving me a like. And if you really do like this channel, please subscribe. It would mean the absolute world to me. I would love you guys so much. But anyways, back to the draft content. We got Saquon Barkley coming off to Jay Barone at 17. And then Jay Metz taking Aaron Jones. Mike Evans coming off the board here at 19. We still got some good value on the board. We got 2 players that I really do like, Mark Andrews and Deebo Samuel. We'll see where they go. I did see Deebo a couple drafts ago falling all the way to pick 25. I don't foresee that today. I think Deebo... Oh, Nick Chubb coming off the board at pick 20. Wow. If I were... Oh my god, this guy could pair up Justin Jefferson and Deebo, which is something I have done in a few drafts now, and it does feel pretty good, I'm not going to lie. I do like our team so far. I haven't really been taking too much DeAndre Swift, but if he's the best player available at that point, I will be taking him. His floor, he's probably, yeah, I will discuss it later, but probably has the safest floor out of like any running back that's outside the top 6. I mean, it's actually crazy. His floor, if you want a stable guy, which isn't really what I like to take in this draft, that's why I don't have too much DeAndre Swift. But if you want a stable guy, DeAndre Swift is your man. I feel like you can't ask for much more than getting DeAndre Swift for that stability. We do have Tyreek Hill and Deebo coming off the board here. We are 9 picks away now. Drumsdale is up on the back-to-back. There are a lot of players here that probably will be coming off the board. I wonder how far Alvin Kamara's fallen. Alvin Kamara still behind James Conner. Which honestly now I think the market is more right than I am on Alvin Kamara, James Conner over Alvin Kamara. As James Conner is less talented, obviously. I don't think it's disputable that James Conner is better than Alvin Kamara is better than James Conner. But at this point, 6 games does matter a fair amount. Honestly, I will admit when I was wrong. I do think I could see James Conner over Alvin Kamara at this point, but it is pretty close. I mean, I would say that, the running backs 14 and 15, they're right there. It really is close. Right here we got a pretty big run on wide receivers, 5 in a row here. Surprised Javonte Williams hasn't come off the board yet. If I can get him, I probably would. I don't think he's going to make it to us, though. But some people really, really don't like Javonte Williams. And I'm one of them. I really don't like Javonte Williams. Mainly because he's going to be in a running back committee with Melvin Gordon. If Melvin Gordon were to get injured, Javonte would ascend to pretty much being a top 10 pick. He would probably be drafted right around where Najee is. But the thing is, we don't know if Melvin Gordon's going to get injured. They split the backfield entirely evenly last year. And while I do expect that to change, I do expect Javonte Williams to probably get closer to 250 touches to Melvin Gordon's 150, about, give or take. It still is possible that 150 touches is a lot. Javonte Williams coming off the board here at pick 28. I do think there are more. I love Javonte Williams. I really do. And I think a Dynasty, he's honestly like the 6th best player in all of Dynasty. But for redraft, I am a little wary of Javonte Williams. I just don't like him at his ADP, I guess. We do have Josh Allen coming off the board here as well. Got 3 receivers. I'm imagining DJ Moore is going to be flying up these boards even more. I think he'll be passing. Yep. I was going to say he'll be passing Michael Pittman and Mike Williams by the end of the week. He definitely will be. Here, we probably will be taking James Conner. I imagine James Conner will still be on the board, and we're probably going to take him. Let's grab ourselves a James Conner. I'm not the biggest fan of Kyle Pitts in redraft. Again, I love Kyle Pitts in Dynasty. But at the same time, I am a little nervous for Kyle Pitts in redraft. I do think his touchdowns will definitely 100% go up. But I just don't know how I can see him returning value at pick 34 at this point. I think there are better tight ends. I just can't see him returning value at his current ADP or returning above average value at his current ADP. I think it is possible he does. Alvin Kamara does go at the 312. I was hoping to get Alvin Kamara on the way back here. Doesn't happen. There are a couple guys I still like. I mean, really just 2. Marquise and Deontay. I don't think both of them will go off, but I do think there's no chance I get Marquise. I think that is fair to say. But either way, it would be a pretty good team. Teaming up Diggs and Marquise, and then DeAndre Swift and James Conner. And then I do like drafting at the 9 for one reason and one reason alone. At 57, you can end up with Rashad Bateman. And at 64, you can end up with Jalen Hurts. Both players I do really like at their values. All right, so as long as this guy doesn't go Deontay here, I think we're okay. I'm not really. I'm a little scared of Terry McLaurin. I really feel like I shouldn't be. I really feel like I should be higher on Terry McLaurin, but something about me, Deontay Johnson does come off the board. As I'm saying it, maybe Terry McLaurin is the pick here. I really don't take Terry McLaurin too often. We are going to go Terry McLaurin. Good night, Ma. Love you. We do go Terry McLaurin here. Gabe Davis does come off the board as well. And now we have JMets 34 on the board next. Sorry, I just had to say good night to my mom. Now we got some running backs on the board here. I'm a little surprised these running backs haven't come off the board yet, especially Zeke. I mean, he has fallen a tiny bit. I've really been too big on Zeke, but I'm a little surprised to see him on the board here. Gabe Davis and Darren Waller coming off the board. Pretty interesting. DeAndre Swift and James Conner on my team. I like it. I feel like this is a team I don't really draft too often, so it is pretty interesting to try out some new perspectives, try out some new combinations, and kind of see what we end up getting. We got Cam Akers at the 407. Still got Zeke on the board, still got Justin Herbert, Breece Hall, I'm imagining, like I said before, in these puppy drafts, a lot of these quarterbacks can end up falling. I've seen times, I see pretty often at this point, Justin Herbert falling to the 502 at an ADP at 44. In Best Ball Mania, people are a lot more willing to reach on quarterbacks, but in the puppy draft, I feel it's way less so. It's pretty interesting. I don't really know why exactly that is. Maybe, people feel like they want to try out different strategies. Um, so it is possible that we can end up with a really, really good quarterback here, like a Justin Herbert or a Pat Mahomes. Even Lamar would be pretty interesting, although I couldn't really justify taking Lamar at I mean, I guess I probably could. If Lamar fell at 57, I probably would take him. Just taking a look at the board here. Got a fair amount of wide receivers coming off the board from pick 29 to 41. Got some running backs coming off as well, which is why it is pretty interesting. Potentially waiting on running backs. I do think James Conner is probably the right pick here. James Conner or Alvin Kamara, either one. You can't be too mad. Justin Herbert coming off the board here. To Johnny Depth. Jerry Jeudy off the board. George Kittle. We still got Breece Hall on the board, though, which is a little surprising. Allen Robinson, David Montgomery coming off the board. 7 picks away, and there are some players we really like here. Breece Hall, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson are all great players, as well as Rashad Bateman and Darnell Mooney. Just going to star some of them up. So hopefully we can get him. I'm not really, again, too big of a fan of DK at this point. I do like Brandon Cooks. I feel like I should like him more. But I don't know why. Like, seeing him next to Rashad Bateman and Darnell Mooney, I just feel like I'm taking them every time. Even though I think Brandon Cooks is really talented wide receiver. Again, 130 targets. Does feel a little gross taking a guy like Brandon Cooks. Does. I won't lie. But at the same time, if you're getting Brandon Cooks, you're going to be happy about it. DK Metcalf coming off the board. To Johnny Depth. Juju Smith-Schuster as well. I'm really pretty surprised that Breece Hall is still on the board. And all these guys do have 2 running backs. People don't really like to take 3 running backs early in best ball formats, so it is actually kind of possible that we could get Breece Hall. I'm going to knock on some wood. Knocking on wood. Hope you guys can hear that. It is possible we do get Breece Hall. Lamar Jackson coming off the board. There are 2 players we like here. I guess now still 2 players. I forgot to star Darnell Mooney, but there are 2 players we like here. Either way, we're not going to be too mad, but I think it would be nice to get a pretty good value on Breece Hall, and we don't, so we're taking Darnell Mooney. It is a little unfortunate. I would have really liked Breece Hall here. I think it is better to take those insane values when they come to you, and Jay Barone is probably ecstatic right now. That team is crazy. Wide receivers, not so much. But those running backs are absolutely insane. Elijah Moore coming off the board. Now, again, there are players we like here, mainly Jalen Hurts and J.K. Dobbins. If we could get one of them, that would be great. I think I have to stop saying the players I like so much out loud. I feel like every time I do that, we get a jinx. We get a very, very bad jinx. I guess there are 3 players we like here, and there's 4 picks away. So hopefully one of them can fall to us. Whichever one that may be, I'm fine with. I don't even know who I prefer. I guess probably Jalen Hurts to secure a good QB. But I can't be too mad either way. Hopefully Kyler Murray comes off the board. I'm not a big, huge Kyler Murray guy, honestly. I think last year proved that they don't really want to use him as a rushing QB nearly as much. He still is a good rushing QB. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong at all. But I don't think they want to use him as a rushing QB as much. Whereas Jalen Hurts is needed as a rushing QB. They absolutely need him to be a rushing QB because that's what he excels at. And that's why I do want to take Jalen Hurts because I think the upside really is there. Do I think he's a good fantasy quarterback? No. Do I think he's a good regular quarterback? No, I don't. Do I think he's a good fantasy quarterback? Hell yeah, and that's what matters. I'm going to be taking Jalen Hurts here. I am. So we got Jalen Hurts. We have a pretty well-rounded team right now. I would have liked to have taken Chris Godwin to round it out a little bit more, but now Jalen Hurts affords us the opportunity to only have to take 2 QBs. Maybe get a guy like Trey Lance. Maybe get a guy like Dak, Matt Stafford, Joe Burrow. Any of these guys. I would gladly take any of them. And we could always end up with some good wide receivers in the next round. Hopefully a Allen Lazard type, a Drake London type. There's a lot of guys that I do like here. So just looking at the board, it is a pretty interesting board. pretty standard. I feel like really not too much value has fallen, besides the Breece Hall pick at pick 56. Other than that, there really hasn't been any crazy outlandish picks. I guess actually, I take that back. I just looked at Russell Gage and Tom Brady. I don't know how I didn't notice that sooner. But that stack, well, it is good. Taking it at 50, 59, and 62. Well, that's a stack. You might have been able to have gotten it 83 and 86. I can't advise it. I can't. Um, Here we have Kyler Murray, Adam Thielen, Chris Godwin, Devonta Smith, AJ Dillon, and Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs falling all the way to pick 70. That's honestly mind blowing to me. I do think Josh Jacobs is starting to become a value. I mean, he is a guy who had 60 targets almost. I think that will go down with Davante Adams coming into the offense, but Josh Jacobs still to me seems like he has to be a value. He's a starting running back, and in this range there are very few starting running backs. The only other one I can think of is one Antonio Gibson. Dalton Schultz still on the board. I feel like he's just been getting pushed up more and more. I don't think I've ever seen his ADP fall down. Although I have been seeing him kind of fall to pick around this range. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp absolutely making a killing in this draft. Oh my god, this team is actually really good. Holy crap. Gets two great quarterbacks. His running back situation is a little scary, I'm not going to lie. He may take Gibson here. He probably... Oh, man, he takes Dalton Schultz. Honestly, I do really like what Johnny Depp is doing. Johnny Depp, if you're listening out there, you have a pretty good team. I really do like it. You got some good value following you with Debo. Got some good value following you with Dalton Schultz. They just need to figure out a little bit of a scary running back situation, which isn't that bad. Here we're kind of hoping for one of two things. Either we get, I would honestly say I'd probably prefer to get Trey Lance here. I would say getting Trey Lance at pick 81, yeah, very slight value. I'm not even gonna call it a value. Pretty much at its ADP. Because I do think there are a fair amount of wide receivers. Four of these guys who I really wouldn't mind taking. Honestly, like four, even Brandon Ayuk, there's like five guys that I wouldn't mind taking. I'm glad Hunter Renfrow's off the board too. I don't really like Hunter Renfrow that much this year, even though he did have a spectacular last season. Davante Adams coming in is absolutely going to ruin his ceiling, in my opinion at least. I mean, it's very hard to see a pathway to fantasy success when you have a wide receiver gobbling up 30% of your target volume. And we are going to go Trey Lance here, especially with Drake London coming off the board. Three wide receivers in a row. All three of these guys we would have really wanted. So it's really just not worth it to reach on a guy like Michael Thomas and the run or continue the run, which is probably going to end in a second. I just don't think it's worth it. So now we have two great quarterbacks, two great running backs, three great wide receivers. We are a little concerned at our flex spot. That is pretty much our only weakness right now, and obviously tight end. But we will address that in just a second. Either by taking Clyde Edwards-Helaire or TJ Hockenson. I'm not too sure which one. Both of them, though, I think are pretty good options. Maybe Brendan Ayuk, too. Any of these three guys I would gladly take. Maybe... I don't know. I'm honestly a little torn. I think going with Clyde probably. I was kind of hoping for TJ Hawk to make it a couple more picks, because the rest of these guys all had tight ends. So if TJ Hockenson made it past this pick, presumably, actually he just got tight end here, but presumably it would have been possible for TJ Hawk to make it back to us. I don't know why this guy went. It's probably just a bad draft strategy. He goes TJ Hockenson at the 7-11 when the parlay has Travis Kelce. Just seems like a little idiotic to me personally. This team's actually really interesting as well. I don't know if I love it, but it's an interesting team, I'll say that much. Don't really like the Michael Thomas pick, honestly. He does concern me. He does have the upside, obviously, to be a great QB, or a great wide receiver. But I think the odds are so slim that it just doesn't seem worth it to me at picks when you can still get very talented guys. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who we will hopefully end up with here, or Brandon Ayuk. There's two guys we really like, so just going to sit back and hope to get one of them. Christian Kirk and Kadarius Toney both coming off the board here. Little unsurprising to see Kadarius Toney this high. He's actually been trending upwards a ton. Rashad Penny coming off the board, very, very surprising. We're going to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire. If you want to talk about a guy similar to Michael Thomas in terms of ceiling, but probably has a better floor, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is that guy. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is operating in one of the best offenses in the entire league, if not the best offense in the entire league. If he is able to get a premium volume share, target share, he's going to be absolutely electric. And he was playing injured last year. I hate that excuse. I really do. But these three running backs all have the potential to finish as top 5 RBs. And I think that's something you can't really overlook. Same thing with all these wide receivers. All these wide receivers are volume machines. Terry McLaurin, 130 targets. Darnell Mooney, 140 targets. Stephon Diggs, 150 targets. I forget exactly how many he had, but a ridiculous amount of targets. Literally, all of our running backs and wide receivers are built on getting huge target volume. I guess except for maybe Clyde. Clyde's target volume probably won't be as high. And then our two QBs are built on rushing. So we literally have the Konami code quarterbacks, the Konami code running backs, and wide receivers who get volume week in and week out. Now, we do have a slight problem. If you do notice, our tight end position has absolutely 0 people in it right now. We will get that figured out. We will get that figured out in a little while, boys. Hopefully soon. But just look at this draft board. Chris Olave coming off the board at pick 89, a little early for him. Tony Pollard at pick 90, a little late for him. Treylon Burks at 91. Matt Stafford at 92. That's like exactly his ADP. Then we got Ayuk. We got Damian Harris, Kareem Hunt. Damian Harris and Kareem Hunt, I feel like they've been attached at the hip ever since these best ball drafts have started. I haven't seen them separate in more than like 3 ADP since the start of drafting. I really haven't seen it at all. Then we have Robert Woods coming off the board, Zach Ertz, and Dallas Goedert. I'm a little surprised that Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert both went above Dawson Knox. I'm going to have to be scooping myself up some Dawson Knox myself. If these 5 gentlemen do not take him, which is possible. There are a lot of good players on the board right now, so it is possible somebody wants to secure an Aaron Rodgers like Jay Metz, maybe a Derek Carr, someone like that. People also do like Cordarrelle Patterson. I always say his name differently every time. I know how to say it, but I don't know. I just like to mix it up a little bit, I guess. There are 2 players we like here. I would say Kenneth Walker and Dawson Knox, the 2. I think I probably am going to go Dawson Knox here because there are... Oh my god. Jay Barone. I get absolutely sniped. I get devastatingly sniped. We're going to have to wait a lot longer at tight end because the next tight end's ADP isn't for a while. I'm imagining Mike Gesicki and Freiermuth, a little double up at picks 129 and 136. A little double up action, hopefully. But for now, I guess it is a good thing. We can work on depth a little bit. Secure our 5th running back. And that way we just don't have to draft another running back the whole rest of the draft. Which is nice, because, I mean, honestly, maybe... I think securing James Cook or Chase Edmonds here would probably be the best idea. That way we just don't have to worry. We don't have to worry again for the rest of the draft. We can just go wide receiver, tight end. And that's it. We have 2 positions now. As long as Chase Edmonds or James Cook come back to us, we'll have 2 positions completely done with. We won't have to worry about taking a single pick at a position like that, which is really nice to me. I do value that a pretty high amount. And even if Chase Edmonds and James Cook do both come off the board, we have Garrett Wilson, we have Christian Watson. There are players we could take and hope. Fingers crossed. James Cook does come off the board. I'm almost kind of hoping Chase Edmonds does come off the board. And D-Nice only has 2 running backs. He goes Ramondre Stevenson, though. This guy probably... I'm honestly just going to take a wild guess here. I was going to say QB. He beat me to it. We're going to go Chase Edmonds here. Chase Edmonds. And we're going to get our 5 running backs here. We don't have to worry about running backs again for the rest of the draft. We don't have to worry about quarterbacks for the rest of the draft. We don't have to worry about those 2 positions. Now, Now we can just go value hunting at wide receiver and tight end. 129, I'm just honestly going to turn these running backs and quarterbacks off. I don't even want to see them. It'll be kind of nice too, because now we see exactly what we have. You know, Christian Watson here, who's going to go off the board. Same thing with Ronald Moore and Gallup, most likely. But we could get Irv Smith and Freiermuth. And then here, there kind of is a tier break after Michael Gallup, in my opinion, in terms of wide receiver quality. But you do have these tight ends potentially coming off the board to us. And if we do get, in my opinion, Irv Smith and Freiermuth, or some combination of Irv Smith and Gesicki, Gesicki coming off the board at pick 116. I gotta stop doing that. He takes Mike Gesicki as his first tight end. Screw this guy. Screw this guy. Why'd you have to do that? You needed more running back depth. No, you really didn't. That's crazy, though. I can't believe that. As we were talking about him, it always happens. Either way, it's okay. Hopefully we can get some combination of some decent tight ends. And hopefully, all things considered, this does not spark a tight end run, which it doesn't look like it has just yet. Because you do figure if these guys are passing on tight ends here, taking guys like Ronald Jones, Madison, and Melvin Gordon, it is unlikely that they will take tight ends on the way back, although it is possible one of them does. There's only one person before my pick with only one tight end. So it is possible. Clutch Boy is a little crazy of a drafter, so drafting 5 wide receivers in a row. He's already got tons and tons of wide receivers. How many wide receivers does this guy have? I think it was like 7 or 8 or something. Which one was it? Jay Metz? No. Clutch Boy. Clutch Boy's got wide receivers on wide receivers. He's 7 already. He could not take. I actually really like the build of this team. I really like the build of this team. He gets 2 awesome running backs, a great QB, and still finds ways to get tons and tons of value at wide receiver. Now he gets Tua coming off the board. Let's see who Clutch Boy takes here. I'm a little interested. I'm taking some notes. I want to see what he does. He takes Irv Smith, the guy we wanted. Now there is a little bit of a tier break here in a lot of different avenues. So for one, we are 100% gonna have to take 3 tight ends now, which does suck. We're probably gonna go Cole Kmet here. I don't really want to. I don't feel really great about taking Cole Kmet here. But there's so many wide receivers on the board that are like around the same level of quality. Like Jakobi Meyers, Jamison Crowder, and Jahan Dotson. All 3 of them I would not mind having. Same thing, Kenny Golladay, like McCole Hardman. I don't really care for any of them. Maybe if I ended up with Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry could be interesting. I haven't drafted like any Jarvis Landry, but here if I'm in a position to, I may. Again, still 3 great wide receivers that we like. I'm imagining at least one of these guys. I mean, the parlay doesn't have a QB yet, so it is possible he does take a QB here. I imagine we'll have at least one of these guys still on the board. Not worth it, in my opinion, at this point to reach on one of these 3 tight ends. I think it would be advantageous to wait till 153. Jakobi Meyers coming off the board at pick 131. And then, as I said, taking a QB here. Thank God. We should be in a good position to take a wide receiver named Jarvis Landry. Should be in a really good position, especially if Michael Thomas does miss time. Jarvis Landry is going to be getting tons of touches. It's like a Chris Olave situation. Chris Olave is going to be getting absolutely tons of touches. In an offense that's really like, I feel like pretty not talked about at all. I don't think anybody really talks about the Saints. I mean, besides Alvin Kamara, I never hear anything about Jameis. I never really hear too much about any wide receiver. Chris Olave, ahead of Garrett Wilson, he is shooting up draft boards a little bit. I think people are starting to realize the value that Michael Thomas probably won't be coming back. And you can say the same thing about Jarvis Landry, going a whole 3 rounds later. I'm talking myself here into Jarvis Landry. I haven't really taken too much Jarvis Landry, but now I think I'm going to start. Even though I don't love really taking old wide receivers. Here we're gonna do it. I'm gonna take Jarvis Landry. Switch it up a little bit. Make sure we have a nice, well-rounded team, which we do. We have a really, really well-rounded team at this point. Make sure we can get some other good players on the team. And if you guys are still watching, please go down to the comments, leave a comment. If you could, leave a like. And it would really, really mean the world to me if you guys could subscribe to the channel. That would actually make my day. Every subscriber I get right now, every time I get one, I shed a tear of joy, honestly. It's awesome seeing this community grow. And I want to provide the best ball info and fantasy football info possible for the community. So if you could, please, it would mean the world to me if you could subscribe. Anyways, back to the best ball video. We got Mecole Hardman, Rachaad White, Michael Carter, Darrell Henderson, Nyheim Hines. We got a little bit of a running back run going, which is kind of surprising because I thought a lot of wide receivers would be coming off the board here. Jamison Crowder coming off as well. I'm imagining that most of these players will be off the board by the time I pick again. We have Christian Watson falling all the way to pick 122. I really don't understand what's going on. He's falling further and further and further. And I'm going to be taking him every single time. Every time I see him at 120, anything like that, I'm going to be scooping him up. It's like Christmas Day getting Christian Watson so late. Christmas Day every time. Alex O coming off the board as well. I'm imagining we'll probably get one of Tonyan or Henry, and then try and get somebody late, like a Hayden Hurst or a Cameron Brate, or even a Gronkowski at this point. Somebody like that to really tidy up this tight end room and make sure we can get some good value. I would like Joshua Palmer. I would like Van Jefferson. Some guys who can make splash plays. This team is pretty unlike me. It feels a little weird drafting a team like this. I've had a couple drafts like that where I just like draft totally not against how I normally draft, but just you end up in positions where certain players fall to you that don't normally fall to you, and you just have to take them. You know, they see Terry McLaurin there. I don't usually take Terry McLaurin, but I did not like the rest of the board. Maybe I should have gone Cam Akers. I probably should have gone Cam Akers, but I do have lots and lots of good talent at the RB position. So I can really see an argument either way. We do have Tonyan coming off the board, Devontae Parker, KJ Osborne, Joshua Palmer, and Robbie Anderson, Gerald Everett as well. We're hoping for Van Jefferson here. We're crossing our fingers. If not, we're not mad. We take Hunter Henry. It's a good day. It's a good day. We got two players we like on the board still. Always a good feeling. You got two good players on the board that you like, and you're one pick away. He goes Jalen Tolbert. We have a choice here. We're taking Van Jefferson. We're getting that splash play wide receiver. Somebody who probably won't have too many weeks where he's productive, but in the weeks where he is, he'll win us weeks. Not win us weeks, but he'll make a splash play. That gets us 30 points on the board. And in a situation like that, you can't ask for much more. From your wide receiver 5, when you have very, very stable top-tier wide receivers, you can kind of go for those swing for the fence wide receivers late. So I do very, very much like the situation we're in right now. And now we can take Hunter Henry, touchdown machine. How many touchdowns did he have last year? 9. 9 touchdowns and 75 receptions. Probably not going to happen again. If you look at his 2020, that rate was just not the same. On very similar targets and yards. But the Patriots do like to use him in the red zone. It is possible to get 6 or 7 touchdowns, which would return value for us here. And they honestly, I'm pretty surprised they did not want Jonnu Smith in the slightest. I thought Jonnu Smith was going to be the guy. I 100% did. And I'll admit it. I think it's really, really healthy to admit when you're wrong, especially in fantasy. I thought Jonnu Smith was going to be the guy. I was following the money. Paid him 4 years, 50 mil. In that situation, I was like, they obviously want to use him as a bell cow tight end, if there is such a thing. And I figured Hunter Henry was probably an afterthought. But it was actually the other way around. I got to do some more digging into a situation like that, learn exactly why. But Hunter Henry will hopefully be my pick here. Got a nice little Hunter Henry value, especially, I mean, he's 12 picks behind ADP, if I can get him. Tyler Algier would be another guy I like, but at the same time, I'm really, really not trying to take another running back. Or Tyrion Davis-Price as well. I was taking Tyrion Davis-Price at 172 at the beginning of the offseason, now skyrocketing to 156 in ADP. We got Hunter Henry. Now, one more tight end, and wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. We're pretty much chilling. We'll end up in a situation where we have 8 or 9 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, and the rest will be stable. Tyrion Davis-Price coming off at 161, and Darrel Williams at 162. Khalil Herbert at 163. Pretty interesting board. We got Tyler Higbee coming off at 164. There are some players I would like, whether it be Cameron Brate or Hayden Hurst, either one of these two. Secure a third tight end. That way we just don't have to worry. And these last 3 picks we could just spend on wide receivers and chill. This draft is pretty, I feel like pretty standard, honestly. There's really been like too many surprises. We really ended up with like too much value. We did end up with Van Jefferson though, which I was a little surprised, and Hunter Henry. The late round value has been really good, but the early round value a little bit less so. It's been a little tough for us to get really good value on players, but that's fine. I mean, I'm pretty glad with the draft we've had so far. I do think we will at least have a pretty competitive team. I'd be hard pressed to say we don't have a competitive team. At least a team that can compete and get us our money back, I would say. We do have Mark Ingram coming off the board. That's a little early for Mark Ingram, although I can definitely understand why. I do see Mark Ingram as more than just somebody who should be taken in pick 200. He is pretty much all but guaranteed to start 6 games. I mean, at this point, there are question marks about his age. I do think they could bring in another running back. But if they don't, Mark Ingram's guaranteed to start 6 games. And 6 games of production, when you're drafting people like Corey Davis, Alec Pierce, KJ Hamler, I think it is fair to make a case for Mark Ingram this high. Because the guys you're taking here are not guys that you really think are going to be reliable starters. I do think KJ Hamler has the upside to start. I do think Alec Pierce has the upside to start. But Mark Ingram has the stability and almost near guarantee that he's getting a workload for 6 games. And that 6 games could be valuable, especially if you are an Alvin Kamara owner. I think it is smart to handcuff him with Mark Ingram every time. I mean, I don't understand why you wouldn't if you take Alvin Kamara. That way you just have an absolute guaranteed workload and you don't have to sweat at all. It's the one situation I don't usually like taking backups because I think generally if you take a backup, let's say I take Saquon Barkley's backup, Saquon Barkley goes down, my season's over anyways, doesn't really matter. So there's no point in taking backups unless you're getting a guy like Alexander Mattison and you don't have Dalvin Cook. Or even if you do have Dalvin Cook, I guess that is a little different. But let's say you don't have Dalvin Cook goes down, and you have Mattison. Now you have an extra RB1 pretty much. You just have a free RB1 that you got to pick 120. So I do understand the logic of taking Mattison. I usually take my running backs early so I don't end up with too much Mattison, but I think it is a very fair take to take him. Here, there's 3 guys we like: Paris Campbell, Hayden Hurst, and Cameron Brate. I think I probably will end up going Cameron Brate or Hayden Hurst, because after this, the tight ends really just get absolutely disgusting. Aside from Gronk, there's really no tight ends with like any hope for any upside. I got Brevin Jordan as well, but I just couldn't see it. So I do think we will go Cameron Brate or Hayden Hurst, because Hayden Hurst at least does have some sneaky upside. He's filling that CJ Uzomah role. And at that point, if one of those 3 wide receivers in Cincinnati were to go down, Hayden Hurst would step into a fairly big role. I'm not saying anything crazy. I'm not saying he's going to have 900 yards, but I think 600 yards could be a fair expectation for him. Obviously, last year, he was dealing with Kyle Pitts. But the year before that, 600 yards, that's not awful for a tight end. Especially not awful for a tight end going from, at best, an average offense to now one of the best offenses in the league. Oh, my God. I think it's impossible to ignore. I think Paris Campbell could be a good option here as well, but I do think the wide receivers are better than the tight ends, so we probably will go Brate or Hurst here. Just secure a good guy, whoever that may be. The draft ADP on Cameron Brate has tempered a little bit. I thought he was going to go up a little further. He was in the 160s at a point. Now, probably going to remain around 180, I would think. you just really don't know with the news of Gronk and everything. I like taking either one of these two guys, Cameron Brate or Gronk, in these drafts, and just kind of diversifying, seeing who we can get. We are taking Cameron Brate. Because if you do end up with a 50-50 split of Cameron Brate and Gronk, one of them is going to come back. And at that point, if you're taking Cameron Brate at 184 and Gronk at 213, they're basically nothing to your team. No investment whatsoever. Paris Campbell coming off the board. We do have some interesting players coming off the board, such as George Pickens. What a great pick. I wonder who made that. Kendrick Bourne, Malone Mack, Waddale, Will Fuller, Curtis Samuel, Austin Hooper, Zach Wilson, Baker, Paris, and how did I say Baker? I said Baker twice, I think, or something. Not too sure entirely. But now, we don't have any other positions to draft. We are taking wide receivers. We're getting Devin Duvernay's. We're getting AJ Green's. We'll take a Terrace Marshall. We'll take a James Washington. We'll take anybody we can get our hands on. We'll take any single person we can get our hands on. I'll take a Juwan Jennings if need be. I really don't want to, though. I'm not taking Juwan Jennings. I take that back. I'll take a Khalil Shakir if need be. But we probably will end up with a guy like Devin Duvernay. Devin Duvernay, I don't know. I feel like I'm a little torn because on the one hand, I do think Baltimore probably should bring in a wide receiver. But the fact that they haven't yet is a little bit interesting, in my opinion. I think it is a little weird that they haven't brought in a wide receiver yet. A little surprising. But it is possible they don't bring one in, and if that is the case, Devin Duvernay is probably going to be walking into. He just has to be just by being there, just by being a body, like 90, 100 targets. I can't see any way where else are the targets going to go. And at that point, if you're getting 100 targets, you have to be at least somewhat valuable. You have to be able to start at least 2 or 3 weeks. I would hope. I dearly do hope for Devin Duvernay's sake. So we are pretty much up again. We got either Devin Duvernay or Terrace Marshall, probably the both of them at this point. Yes, he is aiming for a starting role. He better be in an offense where they lost so many people. Obviously, the Marquise Hollywood-Brown debacle now, he's out, but also Sammy Watkins. I mean, they really left behind pretty much everyone. And Lamar's not the type of quarterback to ever check down to a running back. So they're pretty much getting, I don't know, between all of the running back backfield, 50, 60 targets in the year. And that's being probably fairly generous. Maybe a little bit more because Devonta Freeman was starting to get some targets, even though that sounds so weird to say. 5 years after his colossal boom. But he was getting some targets, so it is possible. We're probably going to take Terrace Marshall here and then end up wrapping this video up. I do appreciate you guys so much for watching. I really do, from the bottom of my heart. I'm so glad to be growing this channel. I really hope you guys enjoy the best ball content that I've been creating, just like on a more personal level. I really hope you guys enjoy it. I really hope I can, be producing more content for you guys. And if you are interested in any type of video, any type of analysis, please leave it in the comments below. I'd really like to be interested. I really am interested in what you guys have to say. Any way I can improve the channel, anything like that. Please, again, I know I've said it a few times, but if you could leave a like, if you could leave a comment, if you could subscribe, that would honestly mean the world to me. I would be like so ecstatic. I mean, it would just be awesome. I really do love this community, even though it's very small right now. Small is better in a way because we have a nice tight niche. I do very much love this community, and I hope you guys do enjoy the content I'm making. Again, if you have any suggestions, please let me know. I would really appreciate it. We're probably gonna end up taking Terrace Marshall here, cap off the video. And I really do hope you guys are having an awesome day, awesome night, wherever you guys are, anything. And I wish you guys all the best of luck in your fantasy football drafts. I think you guys don't need it. If you're watching the Fantasy Football Almanac, you probably don't need any luck. But just in case, figure out all for it. But anyways, that's going to wrap up the video. Love you guys so much. I hope you guys have an awesome day or night.